For this project, I started with 6 of the 11 by 3 canvases from Dollar Tree and 4 of the 5 by 5 wooden decor boxes. So first I remove the fabric from the long canvases, and as I mentioned in the fabric project, I think the fabric on the newer canvases from Dollar Tree are a lot easier to remove. So all I do is just make a little cut beside the staple and I pull up on the fabric, and in the corners I use pliers to kind of tug on the fabric and it comes right off. So once those are ready, I set them to the side, and then I just started working on my wooden decor boxes. Now there's actually 2 different ones that you can use depending on what's available to you at your local Dollar Tree store. The ones that I like the most, and I think these are stronger, are the ones with the little pop up in the middle. I've used these several times before. All I do is just push in the corners with my thumbs. I just push out the inside centerpiece. And the second option you have is the seasonal decor boxes, and they have a solid hard front. But the seasonal ones, I think they're a little harder to remove their front or the center. They will come off, you just have to push these quite a bit harder. Also, I don't think that these are quite as strong, so I would definitely use a nice thick bead of wood glue in the corners to help reinforce the strength if you choose to use these. In fact, that's probably a good idea to do them all like that anyway. Um, Another thing that you could do is add a staple or a couple of staples in the corners on one side, and that would make these a lot stronger as well. So once these are all prepped and ready, I start with the long canvases, making sure to lay the staple side face down. And of course, you can remove the staples if you choose to do that. Next, I center one of the smaller 5 by 5 wooden decor boxes on top of the long canvas. And then I glue those two together with a permanent adhesive and hot glue. So after the first one is glued on, it becomes a lot easier. So I just use my ruler and make sure everything is lined up, and I keep working my way up with every other one until I have a total of 3 of the long canvases and 2 of the smaller ones in between them. Then, of course, I repeat this again to give me a second leg for my table. Next, I paint all of the pieces with white spray paint primer, and then I used a white gloss. Now, I painted this before with acrylic paint, and that works and looks great too, so that's another option. So once these are painted and dried, then I trim out the rims or the edges around the little outline with mosaic mirrors on one side, and then I used adhesive diamond wrap on the other. Now, the only reason I didn't do both sides the same way is because I'd already started with the small mirrors and then realized I didn't think I had enough to do both sides front and back. But I think the Dollar Tree adhesive looks really nice on this. Both are easy, just cut to fit and peel and stick. So once my legs are all ready to go, then I'll set them to the side and I start with the mirror top. Now you have a few options for this. What I have is a 12 by 20 inch beveled mirror from Michaels, and I paid about $4 for it. The regular price is $7 or $8. They always offer a 40 or 50% off discount on their website that you can use on one regular price item, and I just pulled that up on my phone in the store. Another option is you can connect 4 of the 5 by 7 mirrors from Dollar Tree. You can connect those together, much like I did in my large vanity tray that I made. And I'll link that below if you want to see it. Now, when these two are side by side, they are really, really close in size. But if you want an even bigger tabletop, you can connect 4 of Dollar Tree's 8 by 10 mirrors together. Either way, either size, it's all about the same money, but I do think the 12 by 20 mirror is the better quality, it's thicker, and it's the best bang for your buck, plus it's beveled. So I start by flipping the mirror over face down, and just like the small mirrors from Dollar Tree, these have those little legs or the little foam legs. So I just scratched and removed those. And I wanted to add a little bit of trim just before attaching the legs straight to the mirror. So what I tried several different things, and what fit perfect were two of the 8x10 picture frames from Dollar Tree. So I removed the glass and the backing from that, and I pulled the tabs out with pliers. I used clear glue and hot glue to glue the frame to the back of the mirror, and immediately I could already pick up on the picture frame, and I could tell how secure it was to the mirror. So next, I glue a few of those wooden Jenga blocks along the inside indentation of the picture frame to help reinforce the strength and stability. Once I had that side finished, then of course I repeated everything on the other side. And to add more stability, I use some smaller picture frame pieces that I have. Now, these specific ones are the silver 5x7 frames. I glued the 7-inch frame pieces kind of cupping over the row of the wooden blocks on the ends where my legs would go. And I separate another 5x7 frame in half, making an L shape. And I glue that down to help reinforce the strength of the structure even that much more before adding my legs. Now I'm ready for my legs, so I add a generous amount of glue to the platform that we just created, and I place the top of my table leg where the mosaic mirrors are facing out and the diamond wrap is facing in. And I can tell right away that it grabbed really well, so I repeated this again for my other leg. Next, I'm going to add some gusset braces in each corner, which I think that this is the most important step as far as the quality and durability goes. The gusset braces make all the difference. So I have a bunch of frame pieces from previous Dollar Tree projects. I'd already taken these apart, but for this, I'm using the small 4-inch frame pieces from the 4x6 frames from Dollar Tree, the ones that have the easel in the back. So I add a little bit of glue on both ends, and then I connect that to the base of the table and to the legs, which gives this tremendous support to the overall structure. Now you'll want to pull up or remove the bling wrap in the corners and make sure that you glue these directly to the wood. And as it turns out, the angle cuts on these frames and the size, they fit just perfect. So I repeat this for each corner. And I felt like it was sturdy enough to hold just fine. But I did decide to go ahead and add some countersunk screws. So for this, I used a 3/8 wood bit in the center where each piece connects, and then I add a little screw. Now, afterwards, I was glad I did this step because it didn't take but a couple of minutes, and it just, made it that much more stronger. So since the table is upside down when I'm doing this, or if you want to do it this way, and if you choose to do this step, you can leave the hole as it is or add a little gem over the hole because it's not going to show. But I did go ahead and add a little gem, just a little dab, and then I placed a gem right over the hole. On the other side, in that same area, I glued 3 1-inch craft mirrors in the center. This, of course, is optional, but what happened for me is I used a couple of screws that were just a tad too long. I tried to find short ones, but I did have 2 that were just a little bit too long, and it barely scuffed it up a little bit. So this will help conceal any flaws as well as add dimension to this design. Finally, I add some bling wrap around the big frame or the trim And I used a roll of ribbon, and this came from Hobby Lobby. I cut 20 inches off of the ribbon and then cut that into 4 strips. It covered all the way around the table plus the gusset braces. Once I was finished with that, then I flipped my new table upright, and this is the final result. I'm loving this design and the build of this. I hope you did too. Whatever you decide to do, I hope you enjoy. And as always, happy crafting, my friend. I'll see you in the next one.